You're watching Prime Property. Time now for Property Doctor, where we get experts to answer your queries. This week, we're putting the focus on the real estate regulator as the bill has been passed by Parliament. And our expert of the day is Neeraj Kumar. He's partner at DSK Legal. Thanks, Neeraj, for joining us here on Prime Property. I'm going to take the first query now. It's coming from Twitter by someone called Ravi Chandra Uleti. The question is, in what way this bill will change or help me in the way to buy home now? I'm guessing, first of all, he's more empowered.
Oh, yes, he's definitely more empowered. As and when the bill gets notified and becomes an act, any developer or the promoter, as is defined within in the bill, will have to register, will have to first obtain all the necessary approvals to launch the project, and then will have to register his project with the regulator. And all this is done online. Right. So there will be a web page will be created on the regulator's website. So any person who now will be buying a property in this kind of registered projects will have all the necessary information about the project, and he will not, as regard the approved sanction plan, as regard the government approvals, and as well as what carpet area is buying. Everything is mandatorily to be declared while he is making the registration of the project. So more transparency will come into the market. And so
you have to stick to the guide for the timelines, for example. There's also some empowerment against project delays.
Oh, obviously. So at the time of buying, he's more empowered as he is getting more information, and as a buyer, he's more empowered by virtue of this bill, so that the developer has to walk the talk now. Whatever he has promised while signing the agreement.
False advertising, no false claims. Okay, Ravi, I hope that helps you out. Move on to our second question of the day now. It's coming from a Twitter handle by the name of Gurgaon Scoop. Gurgaon Scoop writes in, can states only tighten the provision in the central government's real estate regulatory bill, or can they also relax the provisions like 70% to be kept in a separate account or 500 square meters? Yeah, this is a query we've got from many people, that can states dilute the spirit of what has been passed by Parliament? Can they dilute very important provisions such as the ones that have been highlighted by Gurgaon Scoop?
So in certain aspects, the state have no way of our powers to relax the provisions. But as far as the contentious issue of 70%, there the state, depending upon what the market conditions and depending on other factors, can give the relaxation. For example, in a market like, say, Noida, where the authority is allocating land on a deferred consideration basis, where 70% holdback for the construction is not won't be justified. So in certain markets where the landowner or the colonizer has not contributed land in the project to the full. For example, if you differentiate what goes on in Noida and what happens in, say, Gurgaon. So in Gurgaon, a landowner has the land, he contributes that land to the project. That's why he's allowed 30% to be taken out of the project.
Correct.
Yeah, that is contribution to the project.
So states will have the freedom, you're saying, to change these provisions.
That's true.
Gurgaon Scoop incidentally has another query as well. It goes on to say, is completion certificate necessary, or is it occupation certificate that will be sufficient enough to get out of the purview of ongoing projects? In Gurgaon, there are very few completion certificates. Now, all states don't have completion certificates.
Oh, even in Haryana, for example, so Gurgaon is part of Haryana, you have two enactments which govern or the license condition for development to be carried out in the state of Haryana. One is the 1963 enactment, Punjab Urban Area Command, something, a longish name. And second one is 1975 Act, Haryana Urban Development Regulation Act. Now, a completion certificate is a concept under the 1975 Act. It is not a concept under the 1963 Act. An occupancy certificate is a concept under the 1963 Act. So these two are not part of the same Act. So a project will be either getting a completion certificate or partial completion certificate, or it will be getting an occupancy certificate or a partial occupancy certificate.
So basically, till it has reached a stage provided by the government for people to move in, till then the ongoing projects will come under the purview as Parliament intends.
Yes.
But the problem is that different states have different rules on when the consumers can move in. That certification difference I'm talking about.
So one is certification difference. The second issue is also the kicking in of the Apartment Ownership Act. For example, Apartment Ownership Act kicks in Haryana only after the completion has been obtained. Whereas that act kicks in Uttar Pradesh at the very time of the project is launched.
So this will go different state by state. Okay, so I hope that helps our Gurgaon Scoop. Another query I'm going to take in, and this comes in from a handle called Vistas Gurgaon, and I would like to point out that this seems to be a group of aggrieved home buyers, the Vistas project by Unitech. The query sent to us is, how does the bill ensure home buyers get delivery of unfinished projects with compensation for the delayed period? There are plenty of buyers, not just Unitech to be fair, on many builders, most builders across the length and breadth of this country, which will want compensation for the delayed period. Is there anything in the bill that provides that?
So there are two aspects in the bill. One is what happens, where the regulator steps in, or what power the regulator has for the completion of the project. So the bill provides that the competent authority, for example, the equation is of, this question is by a resident of Gurgaon. So there the competent authority will be DTCP. The regulator can direct DTCP to take over the project, or to rope in a third party contractors to complete the project. The problem with this enactment per se is that today the DTCP or the competent authority in different parts of the country, for example in Noida it will be Noida Authority, in Greater Noida Authority, they do not have the wherewithal to take over the project and complete the project on their own. Now that is what the tricky aspect of the whole enactment is. Though the Act provides for, enables the regulator to take over or direct the competent authority to take over the project, but effectively these competent authorities today do not have the competence to take it over. So how the things will span out, let's see. It's difficult to foresee what will happen actually.
The other thing I want to ask you with respect to this query is that this bill also creates a level playing field between the buyer and the builder, saying that the compensation will have to be at the same rate of interest as being levied for a late payment. So can't they take umbrage under that?
Oh yes, definitely they can. The question is at what stage and where do you go? So I'm saying if the project has been delayed and somebody is looking for a delayed compensation, so in case the agreement provides for 18% to be levied by the developer in case of delayed payment by the client, by the flat buyer, the same will apply even on the developer.
Well, I hope all that advice has come in handy for all of you that wrote in. We're running out of time, so we have to wrap up this edition of Prime Property. Do remember, you can always email us your feedback, send us your queries. Our email address is primeproperty@network18online.com. You can also tweet me. See you same time next week.